you. Well, thank you very much, and apologies for starting late, but just it will take not a long time to go through this conversation with these three experts of the industry. We're going to explore, and we're going to ask them like a crucial question. Is it really that pharma industry is at an inflection point because of several constraints that is suffering, and that technology, strategy, and regulation are the drivers that will help transform the industry? And let me just add that if you follow Draghi Tracker, you see that only 14% of what he was requiring to happen 1 year ago has happened so far. So it means that as industry had a particular role there, probably we have to go in that direction as well. So our focus is how innovation and technology actually are going to help pharma face this pressure. So let's also talk about a little bit these forces and how this personalized medicine, this AI-driven transformation, this challenge to safety and to value will shape what is looking ahead. For example, the Biotech Act, which is something that everybody's kind of with a hype here now. So this should matter because it can create clearer and faster pathways for acceleration and also for innovation providers. So we will talk a little bit about that. So these three industry experts will help us navigate or walk through these challenges and give us the solutions. Two main questions: how they are using technology and how they are navigating regulation. So I think that everybody is kind of excited about this. So let us start introducing the speakers. We heard a little bit about you. I mean, Marta Herrero is Global Innovation Portfolio and Portfolio Director at Reig Jofre. But you've been in Reig Jofre for more than 6 years, actually. But he's also a member of the Digital Committee of the Association of Biotech Companies, Catalonia Health. And Francesco Oggionni, besides being head of global data, AI, and governance platforms service at Sanofi, you have on your track record 20 years of experience in the pharma industry already. Sorry for the figure. Your responsibilities have scaled from country level also to regional and global roles. So we will ask you a little bit about the global perspective and the global scenarios. And Aurelie Scolan, you're, besides being AI strategy and transformation executive director at Almirall, you have been there for 13 years, probably, if I'm not wrong. But you're expert in global procurement strategy, with something that we also look forward when we talk about acceleration and adoption. And we, at the end of the day, are talking about accelerating it for patients. So my first prompt to you three would be start providing some additional details that you can probably point at as your actual achievements or your organization achievements. But also in these 2 minutes each, I'd like to hear from you, what are you most excited about in this industry, in the innovation scenario, probably, for, let's put it, a 2-year period, because now, we've seen that, we cannot go faster. And what needs to happen for this to be a reality, what you're expecting to see? So let's start, I don't know, we can start, Francesco, you can start here.
Thank you. No, first of all, I want to put a little bit of context at Sanofi. So that we have a corporate vision where we want to be the first biopharma really driven by AI at scale. So how it translates to us in the digital space and how we can help Sanofi really to achieve this goal is basically how we can really reduce, we say, half the time from drug discovery to therapy. And you can achieve that not only if you focus on one area, the drug discovery part, but on all the full chain of the value chain of going to the therapy. So drug discovery, clinical operation, regulatory submission, all the manufacturing and pre-manufacturing activities, and then the supply chain and commercialization and reach to the patient. And we need to understand how to apply AI in all the pieces, in all the phases of this chain. Very important is to get rid of the siloed approach and get rid of a project-based approach. So what we try to achieve, and this is what was done in the last 2 years with a strong acceleration, is to really build the foundation for applying the AI across this chain. And building a foundation means once on the technology side, so really focus on building what we call the AI Foundry framework for Sanofi. That is a framework that includes the technology platform for AI, Gen AI, and agentic AI, the responsible AI framework, and the AI-ready foundational framework. So all these components really are enabler for the different departments to start applying AI. And we had a very, very good example of a big area of focus in terms of, because one of the bet is really to use AI in science. So this is the real bet. I have an example that I'm very excited with. We participated since the beginning to onboard them, the full mRNA COE. And they were one of the first use cases were working on this global transversal platform. And the idea was really to use convolutional network with MNL to protein design. And the interesting piece is they had to build their own LLM language, because as you know, mRNA messages, it works with 3 letters with the 3 amino acids. And basically, they created a ChatGPT for mRNA to generate mRNA sequence and shorten the time to define the right ones.
So this is like a way of moving ahead, totally. I probably need to go to the next one, but I think that you have it all figured out in the sense that probably in this couple of years, you will see the fruits of this structure that you're building in Sanofi. So that's a good point that we will catch up a little bit later. But then also from Aurelie.
Yeah, well, thank you, Montse. Good afternoon, all. Well, no surprise, my answer goes very much in line with what my colleague has said about Sanofi. So what I'm particularly proud of Almirall over the last years is how we have moved from experimentation to really AI at scales. No? We have built again a foundation, responsible AI, really a cross-collaboration against the entire organization, all functions. For that, we have a specific group with AI ambassador, AI product owners, AI practitioners. So we have been able to move in a few months from isolated pilot to really a nice consolidated AI portfolio initiatives across all functions. So really tackling medical, R&D, industrial operation, corporate function. So obviously all of that gives us some impact. The one that everybody knows is going to be efficiency, productivity, but obviously they're here in pharma, especially for specialized pharma like us. We can accelerate the early phases of discovery. We can accelerate the clinical path. And so at the end of the day, all that benefits because we are creating medication faster for patients. Few bottlenecks that you mentioned, Montse, maybe, well, regulation. We need some clarity there. And also, I would say talent, because today our scientific and our leadership, they need actually to embed AI into their way of working to help them really on their decision-making process. And I think we're not there yet.
And before going to Marta, just one question. I mean, probably in the regulatory section we will touch this point, but are you all day long looking at the limits in the AI Act, for example? Because you're basing a lot of the future strategy for this inflection point on how far you can get with AI, not as an endpoint, but as an instrument and a tool to your strategy. But let's get that later. So Marta, yeah. Same question.
Yes, same question, but I'm going to give such a very different perspective from our colleagues, showing what means technology also for a smaller pharmaceutical company, local company as Reig Jofre. For us, introducing technology, for example, examples that we are very proud in the last years is that we have become a biopharmaceutical company. This is an important step from our perspective because we are evolving our business model right now. And this is a pathway that we start back in 2018 when we started a joint venture with Limbio, a local startup. This is also an example of how do we like to do innovation at Reig Jofre with close relationship with our more local ecosystem. And now that we have finished with the acquisition of that company, of Limbio, and now we are a fully integrated biopharmaceutical company. So for us, it's very important, this kind of movements within the industry, because, well, given an example, and it's an honor for us that we have accompanied a company from a startup. We have followed them during the scaling up at the end, and then we are finished with a happy marriage. So we are so proud of this milestone that for us is also an important technological milestone from our perspective. And what I'm looking for in our ecosystem in terms of innovation, I hope that in the next year, we will have a truly integrated advanced therapies platform in Catalonia, that it's going to be a real pole of innovation in Europe. We know that we've got certain bottlenecks, but we've got it that at the tip of our fingers, and I'm sure if we find some alignment with our needs, with the current existing capabilities that we've got, and also which are the stakeholder and the role that has to need to have everyone, I think that we will succeed.
Let me add a wish to your wish. It's not just a platform, but a whole ecosystem, which Absolutely. I think it will be seen in the next few years. So, but then we will move to the, now we separated the conversation in 3 rounds. That was the initial prompt, but these 3 rounds, the first one is, we titled this, Strategy Under Pressure. So competition, which choices does this competition bring to each of you? So we'll start again with Francesco. Sorry for prompting you the first one. So, but from a global data and AI platform perspective. So where does Sanofi, and you answered a little bit that, your strategic bets, but I'm just changing a little bit the framework. So geography, technology, or therapeutic focus? Because this is, I mean, an inflection point needs some decisions to be made.
Well, I think technology, geography, therapeutic, I think all of them need to be tackled together. The real importance is how you scale them up consistently at the same time. Because there is no space anymore, and Sanofi, the important part is the focus on where to invest and where to focus in AI. And when we talk about local specific investment, it makes no sense. What we want to build, and I already mentioned, and we build a platform where we can deploy at scale AI in a responsible way, across any geography. Talents across any geography. And the same is for technology. Technology needs to be really standardized and harmonized to be able to repeat, to give transparency, and be really responsible in the development of AI models and product. The other point is therapy focused. The same is not one specific therapy. Of course, we have a specific area of prioritization and interest in immunology, oncology, vaccines, clearly is one of the key ones. But the framework and the ecosystem that we're building need to be really ready to tackle not only the therapy as the drug discovery area, but the full chain. So all the components should be really standardized across the board.
Okay, good. I think that you probably gave some insights on how to follow for other companies or other stakeholders in the industry. So now if we go to Marta, let's skip to Marta now. So for you, in this inflection, you also tackled a little bit of that in your answer, but does survival for a company, this mid-sized pharma, structural inflection point that we can find in Europe, does your survival depend more on scale, specialization, or strategic alliances? Because you talked about platforms. So where do you think, which strategic choice will define your next years?
I want to answer you, but I think that all 3 are on the table. So we are based in focus in certain areas. Also, obviously, strategic alliances, because one company, I think that everyone, but especially one company with our characteristic, we couldn't survive with this kind of alliances. And scaling, I think when we talk about scaling, we think about flexibility to give more tailored solutions for our partners. So What are our decisions that we are making from a strategic point of view? I'd say that in terms of portfolio, we are moving our current hospital model to more innovative medicines that in the areas that we already exist, with, for example, in infectious diseases or in critical care. So this is one of the areas that we want to extend and expand to, well, to obviously to create more value into the ecosystem. And the other big part of the company activity that those related more with the industrial part, the services that we are doing, that we are providing into the ecosystem. Clearly, biotechnology and advanced therapies, it's our bet, our innovation, and our evolving and survival bet. Because, well, we think that we could be real partners at a European level of the ecosystem, not just a partner, and eventually as a co-development partner. Because we think that normally it's wrong understood that industrialization is at the end of the stage that when a product is going to arrive into the market, but we don't think so. We think that when you decide who's going to be your partner in your first clinical batch, you're already doing a strategical decision and making a real decision on the possibilities of success of your product and scalability.
Well, thank you for being so clear in what helps you make that decision. I also want to thank Tech Barcelona, because in this Tech Spirit, we talk about pharma, but probably we would like also from your side to point at technology, because at the end of the day is what also kind of connects us all here. But I think that the other ways of thinking of pharma are very interesting for the audience here, for sure. And to Aurelie, so in specialty pharma, at an inflection point, we think that there's patent pressure, a lot of patents expiring, and some constraints that become because of the prices. What is a way of fundamentally rethinking the business model for you? And I will give you also a couple of things to choose. Accelerating innovation to extend IP value, for example, or external partnerships, or life cycle management. But if partnerships, with whom?
Okay, yes, we are at an inflection point. I think really the traditional model is not sufficient enough for all your constraints you mentioned. But I will pick the three of them, really, the three levers. So the first one, really, on accelerating innovation to get more value from our IP. So specialized pharma, we are specialized in dermatology. We need to make sure that we get better, earlier, and faster treatment for our patients. But then life cycle management, again, we need to make sure that we work on that very early on the clinical path, so we can adapt our drug for new indication, we can reach special population, or we can have optimize our treatment. But the last point, I think, is probably the one more related with AI. It's about partnership, because for us, really, innovation comes from collaboration. And for that, we are partnering with startups, universities, pharmas, and AI partners. So to give you an example, we have just had a public-private partnership with Barcelona Supercomputing Center, and also with Nordstrom, which is a startup. So with that partnership, we are working on an AI virtual screening of very large compounds. So you can imagine billions of molecules that we are looking at. And there, we are trying to screen which molecule could bind better for our biological disease. So that's really a good bet, because really it helps us for the starting point, so the early discovery, to find much more molecules that could work, and also to make sure that they will work. So that's really, it's a huge accelerator in terms of discovery.
No, thank you. Thank you for. I think these are complementary and very straight to the point answers. To be compassionate with the audience, we will try to accelerate the next two rounds, like 5 minutes or 6 minutes for each round. It's again 2 minutes each. But now we go to technology. I think everybody would like to hear a little bit. This technology hopes. What could change the game? And I want to extend the question. I mean, every one of you. I mean, we start by Francesco again, for example.
Well, I think there are two points here. First of all, is the adoption of technology in our companies, where we need really to make sure that we standardize and we harmonize the approach, that we can repeat it in all the different areas where we want to apply AI. And on the other side is the technology providers and vendors that need to be compliant by design. They need to be AI ready by design. And this is not always the case, and we really struggle with that, because this will the only way to have an ecosystem that can accelerate. We will discuss later about regulation, but this is one
again, you say that probably not areas, but where do you see more value? For example, drug discovery, clinical development, manufacturing, or commercial operations?
Short term is for sure clinical, on the clinical side, and on manufacturing, because you can easy measure and get KPI of the return of the investment. Of course, the big bet is on drug discovery, but that is longer term investment.
But probably something has to happen before to get at that point.
Yep.
And then it's quantum on the line waiting for the drug discovery as well. But anyway, so Aurelie.
I agree with him, but to not repeat, I think also something that we all agree that AI is there to free up time, is there to help us in terms of efficiency. So I think also a big competitive differentiator is what do we do with this free time? Because we can use this free time to just do more work, then we'll just carry on and automate, or we can use that time to spend more time with human relations, to understand better patient, physician. We can be in scientific debate like this one. We can really there to think and transform. And I think that's where really we'll see some impact.
And two questions, risk management and procurement intelligence, you see that in the near future?
Yes, because all of this, yes, all of it at the end, you can make more robust decisions because you have better quality. So then when you are taking investment, for example, you are much more confident on the investment you are taking.
Good. No, thank you. And Marta, from your perspective, and also focusing on the portfolio probably, what do you think that
I would add a little bit aligned with Francesco that mainly what we see that's going to be more a game changer, at least in our perspective, it's how do we integrate AI, advanced manufacturing in operations, but from our point of view, it's that correct deployment, because the technology, it's there, but the correct deployment within your company, in companies like us, it's a great challenge to do that and transform this technology in a real competitive advantage. So we are there, we are already using, but we have to create this advantage competitive.
And I'm going to be bold and ask you something that was not on the line. So I'm thinking about manufacturing and all the equipment that is needed at that level. So how you see that feasible in Europe to have our industry for this kind of equipment that we need for manufacturing? So this kind of strategic autonomy that we are also claiming, is it something that you see in the next near years?
I think so. I hope so. I think we should have, and we have to fight for that, because, well, strategic autonomy, it's everything, and we all have to fight to achieve it. So I think so, and we are already including all those technology in our manufacturing side. So if it's possible for RJ, I think that it should be possible for other local manufacturers, for sure.
So that's a line of action, a call to action, actually, yes, to everybody in the room. So now we go to question 3. So we talk about regulatory concerns. And my question is, what worries you the most? And I will start with Marta, probably. So, and I will just mention a few of them, like Pharma Package, AI Act, EHDS, Biotech Act, Critical Medicines Act, everything, procurement. A lot of things are happening now in Europe at regulatory and legislative level. But now, all that is increasing compliance expectations. So what, in your perspective, creates the greatest uncertainty for ARG, for your company? 2 minutes? It's not stick to mine, but anyway.
In our current business, what it's creating more uncertainty, it's the Critical Medicines Act, because, well, we've got within our portfolio a lot of essential medicines, so we have big answers on which are the products that are going to be considered critical medicines, which are going to be the requirements for the manufacturers in terms of stockage, what it's going to be the joint public purchase within different countries. So a lot of questions that we've got on the table, but we will see that.
Let's keep aware of that. And actually, they tell me that we have 2 minutes only, but so 1 minute each on your case.
I think the issue really is the clarification and the timelines, because we have innovation that goes full speed, and the clarity and the timeline that regulation is giving, and it goes very, very slowly. No? So really, Europe there needs to put some framework, a clarity on that. But if they do that, I think also it could be possibly a competitive advantage, because they are building trust. And in a sector like health, with patient data, patient safety, it's so critical. So hopefully they will see that and they will do something and we'll be able to gain that trust.
Let's hope for that. And now, Francesco?
No, I totally agree. It's not a question of regulations, because here in pharma, trust is mandatory. We are patient on the stake, right?
Yeah, at the end.
The problem is not regulation. The problem is execution. So what we need to be able is to accelerate execution. And then, I totally agree, it will become a competitive advantage, because innovation generates value if it can last, right? So, and you can generate trust on the pharma company, trust on the healthcare giver, and that trust from the patient, because even data and so on, they need to trust what data are used for. So
yeah.
I think it's a trust framework and execution framework.
Because we have a lot of at stake, because we have to compete with the US and China that have their own regulatory frameworks, probably require less compliance or help accelerate faster than in Europe. But I think that is a good point. We have heard 3 consistent, all of you, signals. Competition is intensifying, technology is accelerating, thankfully, and regulation is redefining the playing field. So this is important. It is not incremental, actually. This is structural as a change. And I was moderating a panel a few days ago in San Diego, and there was one of the speakers, and I want to ask you, just, I know that they are pushing, but just quickly, because they said, when smartphone adoption exploded, when the camera moment arrived. So which is because when camera was something that everybody was using, everybody adopted the smartphone because of the camera. Which is the camera moment for the pharma? And then in 1 word each, something that will be the camera for pharma smartphone.
AI for any decision-making process in the company.
Good.
For me, it's really AI in discovery. So we can go to very complex, in our case, dermatological disease that we cannot find treatments yet.
ATMPs for me.
Good. I was a little bit concerned you were going to say quantum, because then we have to explain a lot and have another session about that. So I think that with that is enough. So thank you very much to the 3 of you. It was very enlightening. Thank you very much.